Hi, everybody. Well, I have to tell you, I got my fetching shirt on and I am on a roll. And what I want to know is why is it so hard? So you go and you try to navigate your life, and everywhere you turn, it is just a pain in the butt. It's like you try to do one simple thing, and it just seems like there's a giant roadblock thrown in your way. So I could probably go on for a couple of hours here, but I'm just going to cite a couple of examples that I think y'all can relate to that can just maybe make you just a little bit cranky, because I know it's not just me. Okay. So you get on the phone because you want to do anything, you know, calling a business, trying to find out some information. And so you call, and then the phone picks up and you get some inevitable recording that takes you through these menus. So you push number 1 for English, and then it takes you to another menu and it asks you stuff, and it's long, and they maybe preempt it with a recording about, you know, if you want to get our emails, then, you know, sign up after this thing is concluded, or do you want a survey? And then they say all that. So now your eyes are glazed over and you're not really paying attention because you just want them to stop. And then they give you the menu that doesn't make any sense. And so it's like, well, I guess it's kind of number 3, maybe. Then you push that. Then you get another menu. And it is it is awful. Then you finally get to where you think you should be, and you get on perpetual hold. I made a call to this one government organization. I was on hold for 2 hours. I had to put my phone on the charger. Then, and that is if you don't get hung up on in the middle of your 2-hour hold, waiting for somebody that probably doesn't speak English to answer the phone. But then someone actually does pick up the phone and they can't help you, or they don't know what they're doing, and they give you misinformation, and they just want to repeat stuff over and over again that has absolutely nothing to do with your question. Nothing. And it's like, well, did I help you? It's like, no, because this is my question. Well, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, hon, come back. Come back. That's not answering my question. Here's my question. Let's try this again. Not fun. And I'm sure everyone watching this has had that experience. You know, but then you deal with some kind of bureaucracy, whether it's a government office or, God forbid, insurance. So, true story. So in February, I had a tooth that had a really old filling in it, and the filling fell out, and then I bit down and it broke the tooth. I mean, so it already had this giant filling come out, but then like half the tooth came out as well. Went to the dentist, got a cap. See, nice sparkly new cap that just got put on today. The insurance or the dentist submits the claim, and the insurance company denies it. So I'm on the phone with the insurance company, and I'll name names. I was on the phone with Humana. And they said, well, the dentist didn't submit the narrative, any x-rays or the narrative. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure why that didn't happen, but I will get them submitted. Get on the phone with the dentist. They said, well, we did submit it. I'm like, well, can you resubmit it? And so they resubmitted and it was denied again. So I called the insurance back up and I said, this is insurance. You're supposed to pay more than like $40 out of a $1,500 bill, I would think, because you're insurance. And they said, well, you didn't submit the narrative. Now, I know it already was submitted twice because I go to a good dentist and I pay to go to a good dentist. So then I ended up getting somebody, because I ended up calling back later in the day. And this woman says, oh, well, yeah, I see that it's been submitted twice, but they didn't go into enough detail in the narrative. Which is like the description of what they did. And I'm like, so what do you need for them to say? I mean, they've dealt with insurance before. I'm sure they kind of got this pulled together. Well, I can't tell you what we need, what information we need. I'm just telling you that it wasn't enough. I go, well, that's a better answer than you didn't receive it, which the woman told me in the morning that they hadn't received it. But by the end of this whole thing, you're going crazy. So then I went to the dentist today to get my new tooth. And I told the dentist, I'm like, they said that you didn't provide enough of a narrative. And his face got red. He was so irritated. He goes, oh, I hate dealing with insurance. Then I talked to someone else who either deals with insurance or used to deal with insurance. And he was saying, they're the biggest crooks. And they will consistently lie to you and keep you in this loop of not approval and crap just so they don't have to pay. Again, why does it have to be so hard? We're paying money for these services and they just want to screw you over. Screw you over. I mean, I've already made 5 phone calls to the insurance company. 5. And it's like, I shouldn't have to. It is not my responsibility to get them to do their job right. Sorry, it's not your responsibility to get people to do their job right. But for some reason, they seem to think it is. And God forbid, so anyone that's listening, if you have an elderly parent, if you have a disabled adult that you're helping, a disabled child, adult child that you are trying to help, good luck. Just good luck. You call these offices, you call Medicaid or Medicare and Social Security, and nobody knows anything. And then they lie to you. And you get one number and they say, oh, well, we don't deal with that. You need to call these people. So you call these people and they're like, well, we don't know what you're talking about. So-and-so handles that. So you call those people and they're like, oh, no, we don't do that. You have to talk to these people, which is the original people you just talked to. So it's kind of like, so nobody knows what's going on. All you get is the runaround, or they'll say, oh, well, you need to talk to so-and-so. And then they give you a number that's not to that place, or it is to that place, but I don't even know. It makes your head spin when you're dealing with this stuff, especially if it's all compressed into a short period of time. And again, if you are a family member or a caregiver for someone, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to have anything to do with you. You can have a person that is comatose. And if you say, well, I'm calling about a prescription for something, they're like, well, we need to talk to that person on the phone. It's like, sorry, they're comatose. They're in the hospital. Well, we can't talk to you. What are you supposed to do? I mean, other than cry on the phone, maybe drink some bourbon, there's nothing. And even if you have things like power of attorney and some other things just short of being a legal guardian, like going through all of that to become a legal guardian of this individual, They don't want to have anything to do with you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to help you. Not that they can help you, because most of them are freaking idiots. And I don't even have advice, you know. And you know, and that's just things that we deal with on a personal level, on a personal basis, you know. And as you know, you watch the show, I don't really talk about politics or government, but what the heck is going on? You know, they're trying to pass that voter ID Act, the SAVE Act. And according to both Fox and CNN, so obviously diametrically opposite points of view, 80% of the country wants voter ID initiated as part of the election process. So why is it so hard to get it passed? Why is there this stinking meltdown? Oh, well, you have to go change your birth certificate. It's like, you can't change your birth certificate, idiots. And these are Congress people. I mean, they make up this stuff that makes absolutely no sense, and it's stupid. You know, and if you're a woman and you've changed your name and it's been more than a couple of years, you have to go down with your marriage license and your birth certificate and get it legally changed on your social security card and on your driver's license. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. You know, but tied up with this, you know, and I'm just going to throw it in there, the Epstein files. People seem to want the Epstein files. I would like to see the Epstein files, or at least I would like that, you know, there's the sentence, the Epstein files, and be able to put a period at the end of that sentence. So if everybody wants it, why can't they deliver it? You know, we're paying their bill, just like we pay the insurance people, we pay their bill. Why can't they deliver? Why can't they do the job that they're supposed to do? And I just saw this, excuse me, I'm like kind of screaming here, that Trump just signed an executive order so that TSA can get paid. I mean, that's crazy. You see those, watch the news and you see the lines at the airport of all of those people like you and me being inconvenienced more over and over and over again, like that stupid recording on the phone that wants to know everything. And then you put in your account number and your address and your date of birth. And then you get the person on the phone. Hey, what's your account number? What's your date of birth? It's like, I just put all that in. I just put it in. Anyway, to me, all right, I don't have any answers. I just am just beyond tired of it. I'm not sure what you can do to change it. I would like to figure out a way to make this not be the reality that we're in. You know, I feel like the more it happens, the more we are being trained to just accept it as this is how it's supposed to be, that everyone's just going to lie to us. And humanity is at the bottom of the list of priority. And it bothers me and it leaves me upset. And like I said, I think in the last couple of months, with the war going on and everything else going on, all of this crap is starting to bubble to the surface of people's psyches, and they want change. They want something different. They don't want this anymore. So I don't mean to rant and complain, although I did have my complaining shirt on. And I hope you found some value in what I had to say. You know, I always try to keep it light, but I don't know. I just felt like I just had to let it out. Okay. So if you're enjoying the show, and if you like coming here, I would really love it if you would connect with me on social media. You know, if wherever you're watching this show, whether it's YouTube or Substack or Rumble or any of my other social media profiles, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would, give the show a thumbs up and just let me know that you're out there, and spread the word that they can come here and get a free on-air psychic reading. So before I get started, well, there's a pretty good list of comments in there already. So here are the ground rules. If you would like to get a reading, just go into the chat and say, hey, Dr. Rita, you have a great hair today, and I'd like to get a reading, and give me a number between 1 and 3. And that's how many times I will shuffle the cards on your behalf and then do your reading. But you can always go to soulhealer.com/live and jump the line and move to the front of the reading stack, because if you jump the line, you will be the next person getting a reading. And if you would like to ask a personal question, that's not just a general card reading, but something very specific to you, do the Ask Dr. Rita box. That's at soulhealer.com/live. And while you're there, you can always leave me a little something in the tip jar. Sweet. Okay. So let's get this party started. Let me do a quick shuffle to clear the cards, and I am going to get going down this list. So again, I really do hope that you found value in tonight's topic, because I'm just done. I'm done. All righty. ERRT Radio, you are number 1. And he says, happy Thursday, Dr. Rita, and you have very nice hair tonight. Thanks, ERRT Radio. May I have a reading number 3, please? Thank you. And you sure can. All right. Okay. Interesting. All right. That's your card for today. Okay. So ERRT Radio, I feel like you have been, and I am going to use this term in a mindfulness space. Recently, I feel like you're seeing all this stuff around you that really isn't working for you, that isn't in your vibration. And you're trying to figure out what you need to do to come back into balance. And I've talked about this before, just about how sensitive you are. And I feel like, you're just not fully in alignment. I'm not getting per se that it is people around you. I feel like you probably are very much resonating with my monologue today, because it all sucks. All right, guys, have you ever seen me so like, but just do what you can. Just be nurturing to yourself, because it really is kind of a pain. All right. Christine, she says, hello, beautiful. May I get a reading number 2, please? And thank you. And you sure can, Christine. Uh-oh, Christine. Okay, so Christine got a mask card, and that usually indicates where there's energy blocked, or there's some denial, or an energy she doesn't really want to look at. And I am going to pull cards till I feel it clears. Okay, so Christine, all right, mask card, and then you got these cards in there, which were all kind of but hang on. Okay, interesting. So Christine, I feel like you have moved into kind of an isolation place. I feel like I mean, based on what I'm seeing in these cards, regardless of what I've just talked about, that the world isn't seeming particularly good to you. But I feel like in all of this nightmare, you're just feeling all alone and feeling very isolated. And I'm gonna say this way, and I hope you take this in a broad context that resonates with you personally. But just for brevity, I'm feeling like your flow, that your connection to source is a little bit compromised. And actually, the bigger thing is I'm feeling like you're not particularly grounded right now, so that the movement of energy in and through you is somewhat impeded. I feel like you usually feel connected to the divine, just in the general sense. And I feel like that's where that loneliness is coming from. And so my suggestion is to do things, like grounding your body, go out and mow the yard. I am feeling like there is an activity-based thing that is going to give you better results than just trying to meditate and nurture yourself and stuff like that. That there really is some energy that you need to burn off in order for you to reconnect with yourself. I mean, ultimately with yourself. You guys, ERT Radio and Christine, let me know if that's making sense for you. All right, let's see. Yvonne's here. Hi, everyone. Dr. Rita looking great. Can I get a reading number 2? And you sure can. Jeez. All right, we're all stuck today. All right, Yvonne, that's your card for today. Okay, and I am feeling like that card, so just one below is the clearing card. Go for it. Screw them all. You don't need to have a whole conference and get everybody on board with where you want to go and what you need to do. I feel like that information has come into you, and just go for it. Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so you are showing me. So I'm actually reading the mask card for you because there's information in there for you. So I get the impression that you carry a vibration about, and it's from childhood, about, but what if I'm wrong? And this kind of need for validation. And so I would like for you to use this opportunity to maybe dig into that piece of your psyche that is looking for, I'm going to say, external validation. But I feel like what you're thinking is right. And it's more this old energy of caution and fear that is keeping you from moving forward in whatever this endeavor is. Again, kind of feel a little weird tonight, so let me know if I'm hitting. Okay, let's see. And then ERC Radio says, lots of laughs, Dr. Rita. I'm trying to call for a kidney specialist and no answer yet. And what I've learned, you call every day. So the house that I was working on, I would call the air conditioning people. Well, we'll let you know. So I wait a week. Well, I don't know. We'll have to let you know. And I finally told the receptionist that answers the phone, I go, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to call every day until you are able to give me an answer. And that literally went on for a week and a half. And every day I'd be like, hey, it's your call. I'm just seeing if you got a date for me. A week and a half. Every day. Every day. Because they won't call. Because they suck. Anyway. Amy says, hi, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. Took an unexpected trip to Florida for a quick visit. I have a number 3 reading tonight, please. You sure can, Amy. Quick trip to Florida. How fun. And you wanted a 3. A 3. All right, and Amy, that's your card for today. So, Amy, this is very interesting, and I'm going to tie what I'm seeing to this trip to Florida. And, so I get the impression that you have been involved in this like energy, dynamic play game for a very, 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 very long time. And it's interesting because I feel like this trip shifted the dynamics, and you are not the person being controlled. And I don't want to say that you're the controller, because I don't see you as a controlling person in general. But you're not the one that they're trying to manipulate anymore. Like they've kind of given up, or you have put up enough boundaries and expressed enough boundaries that they're not trying to cross them anymore. So I feel like on some levels, there's this energetic victory that you should be celebrating, because you're not being approached in the same, I'm going to look down at you manner. Like you're being looked at with more like respect and authority. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but let me know if that's true, because I'm so happy for you if that's the case. And I bet it was a really good feeling to not have to sit there and fight and fight and fight to just be heard. All right, so we have Omega Forever Parhump. Okay, I don't know. Don't have my glasses on, so I'm just going to call you Omega, and if that's an A at the beginning, sorry. But anyway, hey, if you'd like to get a reading, give me a number between 1 and 3, and that's how many times I will shuffle for you. All right, Unar. Hey, Unar. From my hospital bed. Oh, Unar. I didn't know that you were still in the hospital. Thank you, Dr. Rita and ERRT, for your love and prayers. May I have a 2, please? Man, that's dedication from the hospital. And everybody, since we have Unar here, let's just take one moment and center some prayers, especially in this really challenging time. We can all use prayers. Let's send everybody prayers, but in particularly Unar. Okay, Unar, let's get you a good card. All right, that's your card for today. Okay, So Unar, and I'm saying this in a very globally kind of way, and this is really to anybody that is dealing with the medical profession. You always have choices, and when many people go under medical care, they have this belief that they have to submit to what the doctors have to say, and that they don't need to ask questions, or they should just accept what they say as being the gospel, which they deal with those insurance companies which suck. Doctors aren't a whole lot better. They suck in a very different way. And so, Unar, I know that you're a very smart person and you do like doing your research. And so if they're making suggestions to you, give yourself the opportunity to say, hey, can I let you know in 10 minutes? And then get on your phone and AI or whatever and do some research about it so that you are making informed decisions versus just going along with, whatever people are saying. I think you're doing a great job. And I just am feeling like I need to say that to you out loud, to follow your guidance, to ask questions and pick the direction, pick the path that seems the most congruent to you, not the one they're pushing for you to take. And if you need for them, and what I have found is that if they're pushing for a decision, definitely get them to leave the room so that you can find your space again, so that you can make that decision. Or if you have a family member that's doing that, get them to leave the room so that you can come back into the present moment and make your own choice. It doesn't mean that you can't ask questions and get opinion, but make your own choice. Okay? All right, let's see. ERT Radio says, I have no trouble with my humanity in Arizona. I mean, I don't know if I'm dealing with a Texas thing. I mean, I think I'm just calling a generic number, but they're just freaking liars. Liars. Okay, so when I was first broke the tooth and I called them and I said, my dentist is out of network. About how much is it going to cost? About, well, it's not going to cost you anything. That's what they told me. So they hit me with a $1,500 bill and paid like $37. Mm-hmm. All right. And then Unar is on YouTube. Okay, so Unar, ERT Radio sent you a prayer and some commentary, but you're on YouTube so that you can see that. Yvonne says, run around scam artists. Yeah, no kidding. All right. Hey, Brady. See, I know who you are today. Hello, this evening, Dr. Rita. Am I have a number 2 reading tonight, please? Thank you so much for your insights. You sure can, Brady. So are you like incognito, or is your other online personality your incognito name? Just curious. All right, Brady, you got a good card. Hopefully, good card. All right, so that's your card for today. So, Brady, one of the things that you're showing me, and hang on one second. Okay. All right. So, Amy, you're next. All right. I just needed to look because a thing came in. Okay. So, Brady. So, I get the impression that, and I don't know what triggered this, I'm not really looking at it, but I feel like you have moved yourself onto a path of clearing, I feel like you are moving into this new beginning. I feel like there's a lot of old, I'm going to say beliefs, ideas, whatever, but I feel like you are shaking off a lot of past beliefs. It's hard, of old stuff. I'm just going to leave it a bit generic because I don't feel like it's isolated to just one thing. I feel like you had like a light bulb moment. And when you sit there and look at where you've been, you're realizing that you really don't want to go back there and you want to move forward. And just in that decision, it has given you the opportunity to start making some really big shifts within your space that are just really now coming into fruition. So I don't know what that was, but good job on it. Okay, and so Amy requested she asked Dr. Rita on the webpage. It says, oh, this is from Austin. He must leave Thailand due to visa restriction, and he is unsure about his next course of action. Can you help with advice about his next move and where he should look at going? Okay, so if you ask me about the United States, I'm always good with that because I'm pretty familiar with it. See, here's the thing, Amy. I feel like Austin, I feel like you really resonate with Southeast Asia. I'm feeling like it's probably not a bad idea if you're not going to be in Thailand to just kind of get out of that area in particular. And actually, Costa Rica came up like in my brain. So I'm going to say something like Costa Rica, but maybe somewhere, down south in South America. I've heard that there are some very nice places to live, with Costa Rica being one of them. I am not feeling like it would be for a forever thing where I could see you being in Thailand for a very, very, very long time. I don't see this move being a forever thing, but I feel like it would be a place to go for a while till things kind of shift back into being a bit more normal. And you never know, you might find that you really like it there and it'll be a lot closer to home. I don't see you coming back to the US. Bottom line, I don't see you coming back to the US, not at this point in time. But going across the ocean, I don't think would be a bad thing for you. Okay, and Amy, if you want to ask a follow-up on that, since, you did the Ask Dr. Rita, feel free to do that. Okay, let's see. I did Brady. Okay, get out of there, Brady. Then Unar says, from my hospital bed, thank you, Dr. Rita and ERT, for your love and prayers. Oh, I already read that one. And then ERT Radio says, this is not normal for you. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. I have to tell you, it's been pretty obsessive lately. And there's Don, my buddy. He says, hi, Dr. Rita. I'm late, but I'm here. Could I get a reading? I really need it. Number 3. You sure can, Don. Well, Don, if you weren't here for the beginning, you should listen to it because I was on a cranky roll. Something that you normally don't get from me. All right, Don. Let's see what they got for you. All right, and that's your card for today. Okay. So, Don, I get the feeling that you're feeling kind of beat down, but I'm going to put a caveat on it. I feel like you're feeling beat down, but you recognize that you're beat down and you're kind of observing yourself being and feeling beat down, but you're not enmeshed and in the middle of the beat down. So it's okay to feel beat down if if we can sit there and look at it going, dang, like last couple weeks, I just been like, dang, Rita, you are just like cranky because of all this stuff. Um, but I'm not in the middle of it, and I feel like the same thing for you. It's like you're seeing that that's going on, but I feel like you're not being victim to it. You're being observer to it. And even though it doesn't make it not suck, it is still a different place and a more emotionally mature place to be. So I don't know what's going on with you, but that's my commentary for today. So Yvonne says, so Amy says, get well soon, Unar. And then Yvonne says, all true, good rant. Thank you, Yvonne. So Amy said, notification not working. It's like, no, Amy, I'm too cranky to notice that. But obviously I did find it. And then ERT Radio says, thank you, Dr. Rita. And yes, but my Humana is doing well. Well, to you too. But I'm trying to call for a kidney specialist and no answer. But see, I was just using the Humana as one example. I've been helping a friend with their Medicaid and Social Security, and it has literally been three months of head-racking phone calls where nobody wants to take responsibility. Then throw the dentist thing on top of that. Then throw this medical thing on top of that. Then nobody answers. It's just, and then like somebody said, oh, well, Mercury's retrograde. And I'm like, great. Then I broke my tooth. Then the water went out. I'm like, shit, throw more on the pile. Go for it. On the pile. Okay, and we have, okay, I'm not even there. Erenia. I'm just going to call you E because I'm not even kind of going to try to pronounce that. Hey, E, welcome to the show. If you'd like a reading, leave me a number between 1 and 3, and that's how many times I'll shuffle on your behalf. So Christine says, my reading does make sense, complete sense, as I am feeling stuck and I started to isolate myself. And Christine, do some meditation, do things to shake off the funk. Like how they joke around and say like, putting on calories, you eat this donut and you might as well just stick it on your thigh. I mean, I feel like all the stuff that's been going on to you and around you is stuck to you on your thighs, and you just need to shake it off. Ah, there we go. Reading number 3, you sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so I don't recognize your name unless you've come in here on a different name. So welcome to the show. Happy for you to be here. I hope you come back. Okay, so I am not sure. So there's a lot of energy that I'm picking up around you about forcefulness and aggression and having to be number one and pushing your way through and trying to be in charge and control what's going on. Now, where I'm getting a little bit of the rub here, which is not coming through as clear as I would like, is Are you the aggressor? Are you the alpha female? I'll say female. Um, that is the pusher and aggressor, or are you the victim of that? And you are just reflecting to me this sense of aggression that you're experiencing, uh, from others. No, all right, I'm gonna rescind one of the things I just said. So I get the impression that you've been kind of cranky lately. And I feel like has been a bit out of character for you. And if you've listened to this show today, I don't mean any other day, but today, um, we're sitting in a very hard energy, and to get anything done, you have to sit there and kind of take life into your own hands and be kind of aggressive and be kind of pushy, which, if it's not something you're used to, is really uncomfortable. Um, but you're doing it. What I want to say is that is not who you are. That is you responding to a situation that is calling you to the task of doing that. But it shall return. I mean, it could stick, but if you're aware that it's just a temporary thing, you'll go back. You'll go back. So don't be afraid of that. All right. And then Yvonne says, yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Yvonne. So I just want to share with everybody, so if you've gotten good readings the last couple of weeks, and I've been like in a really not good place, just think of what your reading would be like when I'm in a really good space, or in a space that's not cranky. And then Marco, hi Marco. Well, you're new here. I'm glad you could come to the show, and I hope you come back again. And then Amy says, yes, the dynamic definitely has changed for the better. Yay. Thank you for all your awesome contributions for me on this journey on my way to the tip jar. Thank you, Amy. Love you, Amy. Okay. And then Unar says, and this is kind of on the reading, I would assume, one nurse tried to push an unnecessary procedure on me, and I stuck up for myself. The doc told me I was right. Great read. Good job. Well, every procedure they do is another little chink chink in their wallet. Yeah. So good job. Good job. So Marco wants to know if I give readings. I give readings to anyone except for guys named Marco. So like dead people, predict the future, Marco. That's the rules. All right. Okay, so Marco, are you like my Marco, or are you a different Marco when I'm just like giving you a bad time because you're not my Marco? Anyway. All right, Brady says, very much so on point. And then we have Pooja. Hi, Pooja. Welcome to the show. Yeah, that's my Marco. That's my Marco. Okay, so Pooja, I only do numbers 1 through 3. And so I will give you a 3, because I don't want to scroll down to see if you picked a different number, because we're getting kind of late. All right. All right, so here is your card for today. So Pooja, I get the impression that so there is something that is called the story. So there's a fact of this is what happened, and then there's the story that we attach to it. So we're expecting a phone call from a friend, and it's 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and then we don't get the phone call. Especially like from a relationship person, and the next thing we know, like our brain is going, oh, they haven't called, are they okay? Did they get in a car accident? Are they seeing somebody else? Maybe they're talking to another woman, blah, blah, blah. And so just for the fact that they didn't call, your mind takes that little piece of data and constructs this whole big narrative tied to it. And Punja, I get the impression that you're pretty good at that. And I would love for you to stop in this situation and take a step back and go, what is the fact? What is the fact of what is going on? And separate that from the story. Because if it's a fact, it's a fact. They didn't call me. The story usually gets tied up with all of our fears and insecurities. And it starts with a nothing burger, they didn't call, and sometimes can take on a complete life of its own, which is usually just hurtful to you, because maybe they didn't call it because their battery went dead or their phone fell in the toilet and they couldn't call you, and had nothing to do with all of the fears going on in your mind. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to what's going on in your life right now. Okay, and Amy says, Austin will probably love your answer to his question. He may send me a follow-up. Thank you so much. You're so welcome, Amy. And good luck, Austin. Okay. Punja, it hasn't been 1 to 5 since the very beginning of the show, and my hands were not navigating. Okay, so Punja, I did it too. Sorry. Okay, Roman Emperor would like a number 2. Okay, where are we? And I think you're a new name too. So welcome, Roman Emperor, to the show. Uh-oh. So if you haven't been here before or whatever, so this is called a mask card. And I do not like when this camera does this. All right, I'm going to fuck with my camera. Hang on 1 second. All right, that should fix it. And when one of these cards come up, it usually means that there's an energy that's blocked. Okay, so I wasn't getting a total clearing, but I was getting some insights about what this is about. So I'm just going to go with this, and this is Roman Empire. So I get the impression that there is something that you need to figure out. I feel like, it's not a hard decision. It's not like a yes or no thing. It's more about a discovery and an unfolding and an exploration. I feel like you're being guided into a new area, of exploration, for lack of better words. I feel like there is some fear about going down this road. I mean, there's curiosity, but then there's also hesitation, and some hesitation tied to it. And I feel like the journey will be worth it because you will be able to decide whether what you think and what you believe and what you know now is actually a fact, versus through this exploration, whether you should be thinking about or exploring something else because it's not really based in truth and reality. So I think it will be, I think it would be really good. It will give you insights into an area that there's part of you, there's part of you that is feeling like it's being programmed and you are not really the decider, that other people are the deciders of what you're believing. And you are wanting to like get more facts so you can make a decision for yourself. So I think that that's good. And it's okay to explore. Then Marco says, I have known Rita for 15 years and she thinks I am new. You're always new, Marco. Then he put, Rita, it's me. Remember, we have a relationship. You have fab hair and lips. All right. Okay, Jess, you are here just in the nick of time. Did you put a number down here? Number 3. Okay, Jess. It's going to be a quickie. Okay, and that's your card for today. So Jess, when I look at your energy, I'm just feeling like this tightness in the pit of your stomach, like right in the 3rd chakra, solar plexus area. I feel like you're feeling a bit beat up right now and are a little bit hesitant in projecting your energy out, because when you do, it's like it's been getting knocked around and you're kind of tired of it. So maybe you should just, I don't want to say withdraw, but take a little break, do some nurturing, regroup, allow that energy to clear, so that you can re-emerge in a better place, in a stronger place. And with that having dissipated from you. I hope that makes sense. I mean, I know it's pretty quick, but I hope that makes sense. All right, let's see. All right. See, Jess knows. Hi, Dr. Rita. You look fabulous as always. Maverick reading number 3. Thank you. You sure can, Jess. And then Roman Emperor says, thank you. And that's accurate. Great. And then E says, new here. Looking forward to reviewing some of your videos, especially on the Nephilim. There's like 500 interviews and videos and whatever, and I hope you come back next week. And then Poonja says, thank you, Dr. Rita, for the message. You're welcome, cranky as it may have been. And then ERRT Radio, thank you, Dr. Rita. Great topic and excellent reading for me. And then Jesse says, very accurate, thank you. Well, you're welcome. Anyway, guys, before I go, I would like to just remind you to connect with me on social media, like and subscribe to this channel, set up notifications if you're seeing it on Rumble or BitChute or Spotify or iHeartRadio or wherever you're finding this show. Please like it and subscribe to it. At least like it and get the notifications, because that just helps me. So if you don't leave me a little something in the tip jar, if you could do that for me, I would be eternally grateful. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. So till next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.